Now something goes so that it will be the president's letter to the IGG exempting soldiers and members of the security services from declaring their wealth. That's also a topic of discussion. And in fact, I'll put the topic on our social media. Go right ahead and give us some feedback. President Museveni ordered Acholi sub-region who misappropriated the parish development model fund. How was it expected? Corruption is a menace in this country. You and I now know. Is up in arms with the leaders in Acholi sub-region who have misappropriated this parish development model funds. The protests Kenya, South Africa, and Senegal happened this particular week. And are slated to happen every other Monday and Thursday. The reasons for the protest? The commodity prices. Now Raila Odinga is saying open the server so that we know who won the election. So they are still in the election. President Uhuru Kenyatta and President Ruto is saying you must respect the legitimacy of the vote. And accept to be in your position without derailing the economy. We're hoping to have a view from Omilo, who is in Nairobi. We shall be connecting. Then Rwanda is sent to release Paul Rusesabagina, hotel is Rwanda. This gentleman saved a couple of lives for genocide. But later he was arrested on his way from Dubai into where he was incarcerated, tried and convicted on allegation of. He wrote a letter to His Excellency, President Paul Kagame, requesting to be pardoned. The President has pardoned him. Based on age and other issues, international pressure, and all that has to do with that. He said to be free. Now, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris is said to visit Tanzania and Zambia. I don't know why these international leaders keep on, avoiding Uganda for some reason I don't understand. To help me welcome my Mrs. Jordan National Vice Platform Western Region, Sifa Safi panelist on the big seat, and a member of the Nationals, and a businessman in this town. Welcome, Mrs. Jordan Shan. Welcome to the big seat.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers. Mr. Banyajani and the team. I'm happy to be here this morning to discuss all that you have listed down. I want to greet the members of National Unity Platform who are in Western Uganda and even the new ones who intend to come and join us. Congratulate those who have had good things happen to them this week. You have listed all the bad ones, but I'm sure I saw people graduating.
Yes. How did I even forget that?
I saw people in academic gowns. I want to congratulate and to welcome them and to welcome the world of no jobs. I want to heart with those who lost good ones here and there, who lost here and there. And I want to say hello to all of you survivors who are surviving in this governance and economy. Welcome.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Asimba good morning and welcome to the big set.
Good morning, my brother. Our dear listeners and viewers. You've raised the bar so high. We are always online. Mikey takes this week by congratulating the young ones that have made it at BSc. And we wish them all the best careers, professional careers, their issues of unemployment here and there. And in a special way, once again add a voice to thank our parliament homosexuality bill. And on the issue of COVID, we've talked and talked. Why are they going after the small fish? I would love to see the PS and the other big culprits, the accounting officers being chased and convicted. and because we know the roads, that's the headquarters then. But these ones are just being sacrificial ramps. On the issue of the demonstrations, in Kenya, South Africa, Senegal. Yeah, we appreciate the challenges there. But believe me or not, there's also some other external
through the cost of living in Kenya.
But the genesis of all this, we know root of these foreign companies, multinational corporations must pay taxes. Why should they be exempted at the expense of Kenyans? And finally, I want to greet my fellow panelists and welcome everyone on board. Let's enjoy this morning's topic. It's very interesting.
Welcome, Asim. Welcome, Sifa Safi. Good morning and welcome. Sifa Safi. Good morning and welcome to the Big Set.
Thank you so much for having me. To our dear listeners and viewers, thanks for giving us your time and as usual. We appreciate and we don't take that for granted. Those who send special greetings to you. Send special greetings to you. Team that you post every Saturday. Team that you post every Saturday. Different people, but they like them. First of all, I want to congratulate all my Muslim brothers and sisters upon having reached the holiest month. That is the month of Ramadan. And all I can say is Ramadan. Let us be among those who benefit from God's mercy. Through God's mercy. And Vanyaji, I want to say I'm very happy about the take of General Mhozi on the issue of when he told these companies that are threatening to leave the country. He said they cannot be blinded. Actually, we cannot be blinded by the money. Simply because you want to be and they are financially, so they want to impose those things that we don't like. I was very happy and also the levels of domestic violence really going very high. For example, when you read that someone has been, he's had one cut off. The wife's hand. Yes, was cheating you. Any reasonable husband would like to sit and resolve some of these small issues. I think yes. Any reasonable husband would like to sit and resolve some of not being these small issues. They're just on paper.
But there are enough laws to deal with domestic violence.
2023,
there are enough laws to deal with domestic
violence. But not being practiced. They're just on paper as usual. To change their ways at how they look at water management and handling in this country and other countries is something really because on drought comes we are hit very hard. And to change their ways at Africa generally water management and handling in this country and other countries there is no rain. People suffer because on drought comes we are hit very hard. And in this country and Africa generally we depend on rain for agriculture. And you see what happens when there is no rain. People suffer. Allegedly those people who are against something bill that was done. But finally you can see the level of madness by these people. And like we said, they cannot remain normal. Allegedly, those people who are against the damage and whatever caused by these, you can see the level of madness to Parliament for passing like the bill. Said, they cannot behind normal, and you're going to see a lot of.
All right, welcome, Sifa Safi. Thank you so much for all the guests that have made it this morning. Let's stop up for a break when we come back into our topic of discussion. All right, welcome, Sifa Safi. Thank you so much for all the guests that have made it this morning. Let's stop up for a break when we come back into our topic of discussion. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat.
91.2 Crooze FM, great music, great friends. My name is Westige Banyaji. We are online and you can be able to stream it on www.cruisefm.com/friends. My name is Westige Banyaji. We are online, you can be able to catch the video stream it on www.cruisefm.com/stream. Crooze TV. And on YouTube, you can be able to catch the videos right there. With me in studio is Mrs. Crooze TV, who is the Vice President, National Media Platform Western Uganda. With me in studio is Mrs. who is the Vice President, National Platform Western Uganda. And joining us online is Ben Omilo, who is in Nairobi, who is a businessman to give us a brief of we know certainly. And joining us online is Ben Omilo, who is in Nairobi, to give us a brief over the high commodity we know certainly that the Kenyans, the lead opposition, have been holding the leading figure of opposition is saying they need to over the high commodity prices to show you exactly won the August lead opposition. Welcome Ben Omilo, and thank you for joining us this morning. Servers to show you exactly won the August election. Welcome Ben Omilo, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Nairobi, Kenya. The executive Thank you so much, comrades and organization. But also, I am a governor Nairobi, Kenya. The executive here in Nairobi. So thank you so much. It's a pleasure to link up with. But also, I am my brothers and sisters in the studio here in Nairobi. So
yeah, first things first, we know for sure that certainly elections were held in August. That's 2022. Okay. And yeah, first things first, we know for sure that certainly elections were held in August. Proud of how Kenyans were that's transparent, organized, and the whole world, and particularly the African continent, were very proud of how Kenyans were transparent, His Excellency organized, Ruto, violent, free. A winner was declared, and members of cabinet were sworn in, and everything was normal. Ruto, we saw what happened from the Supreme Court. And now members of cabinet were sworn in, and everything was normal. We saw what happened. What is the problem? I thought the elections are done, and the nation should be moving forward.
Yes, thank you, brother. And firstly, I'll say that I'll agree with you. The elections were held. Everyone saw. The world saw what happened. After that, the leader of opposition and other teams which were not contented went to court, which is actually the constitution gives us that leverage, and all procedures were followed. Again, the winner was declared. The court explained itself on the matter, and everything went on. The government has been was formed since August last year, and it takes 14 days to have the inauguration after that. So at this time round, the opposition has regrouped and coming up with again claims that are not. I can call them mixed claims, because one, the opposition or the opposition leader is using the current economic situation to now start, whipping people's emotions about President Ruto's government. Two, he's claiming that President Ruto is applying, is becoming a bit, I think these are personal issues, because he's saying that President Ruto is appointing people from his community. He's also claiming that the issues which were raised by the four commissioners, IBC commissioners, about who were against the ruling. This matter has also been taken to court. The court explained itself about it, pronounced itself about the four commissioners, and again the decision has been made. So I don't know why is it that the opposition leader is now whipping people's emotion and using some of these issues to want now to declare that the current government, President Ruto's government, is illegal government. When you hear of what the protesters are saying, it is like they are against the current government. Ruto must go. This is not the time that we should have such.
Perhaps, yes. Perhaps the question that I would put to you on regard to the rule of law. We know for sure that the Constitution stipulates of the number of chief administrative officers that the president is supposed to appoint. The Constitution says 23. The president went ahead to appoint about 27 of addition to make it 50. Well, isn't the president doing only rewarding those that were loyal to him in the election? And this is against perhaps the Constitution, and the opposition must stand up against the conduct of the president.
Okay. Firstly, we have issues that can be addressed amicably through very sober processes, through law, through courts, through the legislation, or through parliament, and through the civil societies can also put a lot of pressure. But now, the opposition is making the situation to be not navigable, to address some of the issues. I cannot say that President Ruto is doing 100% perfect. I cannot say that the opposition is also doing it well. As President Ruto was sworn in, the first thing he mentioned, or was declared a winner, the first thing he mentioned is that he wants to strengthen the opposition. He wants an institutionalized opposition, as it is stated in the Political Parties Act, as it is stated in our Constitution, as it is. He wanted the opposition to be strong, and in that respect, already there is a bill. Perhaps, in fact, the opposition is frustrating itself. There is a bill which is supposed to go to the floor of Parliament to have the opposition leader in the House or in the Parliament, and that is going to give the opposition a better chance, a better opportunity to check the excesses of the government, to check the excesses of the president, to check the excesses of the executive. But now, if all these things are happening, as you mentioned about the CAS, the chief assistant or secretaries, these are not even constitutional positions. This is something which was created by President Uhuru when he came on board to also cover up some of his lieutenants who had not made it during elections. But now President Ruto is taking it a notch higher. As you may know, there are these executive orders that the president can or enjoys, and now leveraging on that to put in place such a bloated cabinet. We have the 22 is the minimum. I think the Constitution states that they can go to 24 if you are keen about the cabinet secretaries. 22 is the minimum, but the president can go to create up to 24 ministries. Now, adding the chief executive or chief CAS, what we call CAS, the chief assistant secretaries, to make the cabinet or to make them up to around 50 or 50 something. It is something that the opposition could have taken up this, the civil societies could have taken up this, and the issues even taken to court and addressed soberly. But in this situation whereby we are having demonstrations every Mondays, demonstrations every Thursdays, how will you then have an organized conversation around this? Even the civil society, we are looking at these issues and we are like, we need a sober environment. The issues being raised, the economic situation is global. The dollar and all the issue, the current Ukraine, whatever, has affected the rest of the globe. But now, if the opposition can sober up and have even these demonstrations not to be so destructive.
Okay, Ben.
The conversations to be, the messages to be so clear. I think the environment will allow them to address these issues by President Ruto's government, including these cabinet appointments, including the appointments to various parastatals and the like.
Ben, we know for sure that the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, has categorically stated that they will not talk to Raila Odinga and his cohorts, saying they are a bunch of destructive Kenyans and they will not give them any audience. Perhaps now, if at all they don't start up a conversation of matters to do with Kenya, how will this be, dealt with? Because if at all you don't want to stretch out to the opposition, these demonstrations will continue to be held on Monday and Thursday. And mark you, it's not the first time that we are seeing this in East Africa. Ours, we are bothered because Mombasa is our entry to the sea. But we saw this in Uganda in 2011, and we know the effects it has to do with the economy. How far do you think Kenyans will be able to sustain this on the streets, demonstrating and protesting, and how it will have to affect the economy? Before I let go.
Yes, brother. I know it is a very bad situation, and being that Kenya is also a country, a strategic country in the region, not only for out Uganda. Uganda, you are our immediate neighbor, and when Kenya catches flu or cough, Uganda sneezes. So you find that in this situation, we have not seen any white paper being presented to the president before the demonstrations. You understand the white paper, the yellow paper, and the red paper. I studied in Uganda, and some of my knowledge on governance is derived from Uganda. And this has not been done, in that it is so clear that demonstrations are based on non-adherence to the issues by the president, or to the issues which were raised by the opposition to the president. What the opposition came and started declaring is that they are going for demonstrations. Even the church has now come up to say that President Ruto should meet Raila. And now yesterday, the president explained himself about how this should be done in Kisii. And he clearly says that Raila should face him. He should face him, firstly, as the president. He should respect him as the president. That is a fact. Then other things can be discussed. But now, creating this environment, it is disruptive to the economy. It is disruptive to, as you just mentioned, and I'm happy that you have my brother there whom is coming from the business or the private sector. It is destructive, and it is not going to gain fruits.
Okay.
In fact, it is going to, already 2 people have died last Monday. I don't know how many will die next Monday. I don't know how many will die on Thursday. And also the police are responding with the force, especially on Monday. I watched the whole thing. The police are responding with a lot of force. And that is something that I should also advise the government of Kenya, that, these are supposed to be peaceful demonstrations. And peaceful demonstrations, we know how they are supposed to be conducted. Anything, when you are bringing the police to tear gas the demonstrators, to shoot the demonstrators, that is now against, you are charging them up. So
okay.
I think something has to be done, my brother. And if it calls, we should now have even interventions of the region of East Africa into this matter.
Okay, I have the panelist here in studio has a question for you before we go on. Yes.
Thank you so much, Ben, for your insightful submission. Just a quick one. You and I know demonstrations will not help the economy, and it's part of the issues that are being raised. And when you talk of excessive force, we all know that some of the issues being raised, irrespective of the fact that they are legitimate, even these key opposition players are selfish. They are after the power. So, the way Arya said, why can't they engage government, have talks, discussions? If talks don't yield, then they mobilize masses to demonstrate, protest about the high cost of living. Because now the situation is going to get worse. Foreign investors are going to start withholding their money, leaving the country. So it will not help in any way. And inevitably, the way you Arya said, when Kenya catches flu or cough, Ugandans and the whole region, we shall sneeze, because that's our main export and import route. Thank you.
I can add.
Yes, please. Yes.
Mr. Omiro.
Yes.
Or Omilo, I don't know whether
Yes.
it is
Yes.
L or R.
Yes.
You see these days, when someone makes a presentation, you know from which side of the hill he's talking.
Yes.
Because from what he has said, it is clear that for him he supports President Ruto. He's not looking from the other perspective of society. Now, if he's saying that the opposition needs to talk to the President Ruto, now, who calls who? Who takes the initiative? Now, if there has been dissatisfaction since August, what has the president done? You see, a demonstration is a manifestation of what has been going through the minds of the people of Kenya since August. So what has he done? Now, instead of calling them, now society is standing aside and saying, why doesn't opposition talk? How do you expect them to talk to a head of state? This is one way of communicating, and it is the best, I can assure you. For me, not for us in opposition, for me as an individual, I believe that this mode of communication which they have started is the best, and certainly Ruto will talk.
Okay.
Sooner or later.
Yes, we have another question.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ben. I want to get your take on the issue. Some people are arguing that Mr. Odinga, in partnership with former president, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, are trying to, protect the empires, because remember, they are some of the biggest earners in this country, and there has been talk that the government wants to open some of these markets to competition. For example, the petroleum gas industry and some of the dairy products in this country. So do you think it is a selfish intention by these two comrades to try to use demonstrations for their selfish gains? Thank you.
Yes, Ben, take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I want to really appreciate my sisters. I gotten one named Judy.
I have Jolly. I have Jolly, and I have Sifa.
You have Julie
and Sifa.
Julie and Sifa.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to appreciate them for those sentiments and observations. And actually, I want to start with the expression about my sentiments being construed to be in support of the government. Any citizen, any patriotic citizen will definitely support the government of the time. And by supporting the government of the time does not mean that you agree with everything they do. And that's why I say that there are some things I don't agree with President Ruto's government, or starting to show the excesses of power. Two, if you are not going to be careful, and this has been mentioned, Kenya is a multi-party democracy. If we are not going to be careful, we are going to destroy or revert the gains that Kenya made by repealing Article 2, is it Article 10 in 1992, that brought now in the opposition, or the multi-party politics in Kenya, or multi-party democracy. And we might fall back or revert back to one party state, whereby we had KANU as we call it in Swahili, chama ya baba na mama, that everyone needed to align with KANU or with one party. We have seen this in Tanzania during Magufuli time, whereby now everyone had to align with CCM, and the opposition leaders were taken to exile, save for what is now happening under Mama Suluhu. But again, the government, as they do that, the opposition also has to be aware that there are structures. If you are asking about who should initiate the conversation, I mentioned earlier about the white paper, the yellow paper, and the red paper. And the frameworks are there. Our laws, our legislations are so clear. The Constitution is so clear about when you are dissatisfied about the outcome. And this was followed. You saw, I have never seen the courts in any other region in East Africa having conversation about the election outcome. It is only in Kenya that the constitution allows us that when you are dissatisfied, this can be taken to the Supreme Court. And it took the whole 7 days of conversation in the court.
Okay, Ben.
The court
yes,
pronounced themselves about the results.
Ben,
so that was exploited.
Ben, our time is fast spent, but perhaps you could answer the question that that lady put forth. Is it a struggle of having monopoly over certain sectors in the economy by your predecessor and Raila Odinga that the current establishment has kind of disrupted, that is causing some of this menace?
Exactly, and that is now what I was coming to, the last question. That as you know, this government was formed under the roots of hustlers or ordinary person, mwananchi, to elevate them. And now there has been already established systems, or the dynasty, who were already established, and these were certain families. As you can see, they were also in leadership, the Kenyatta family and the Odinga family. They have been in businesses controlling big multinationals or controlling national businesses and even beyond. So by bringing or trying, like recently you saw what happened with the taxes, the revelation, or the issues on some of the businesses or people who have been evading taxes, and what has that cost our economy. So it is beyond. It is these demonstrations are just a tip of an iceberg, and those ones who are being involved in the demonstration might not know that they are being used as decoys, or they are being used by the big fish to ensure that they remain, or they achieve their goals.
Thank you so much, Ben.
This battle is beyond what we see in demonstrations. So we have to look further, as you mentioned. We have to look further at what are the interests of the two. Why is the former president behind scenes of these demonstrations, or it is in public knowledge? So that is something that we should explore, and I believe because of time, in our next conversations, we should now go beyond and now look at whose interest in these demonstrations. Why now?
Okay.
Why didn't they since August? Why now?
Okay. All that our message as Ugandans, the people of Kenya, we shall not indulge in the internal affairs of Kenyans. But you should know that whatever that is you're doing in Nairobi or Kisumu or Eldoret, whatever it is, matters to Ugandans because you're our route to the sea. Thank you so much, Ben Omilo, for taking time to join us this morning.
And thank you for hosting me again. Uganda is my home. I studied there, and I love you people.
Okay.
Be blessed.
Thank
God and my country.
Yes, for God and my country, indeed, Harambe. That's Ben Omilo, a fantastic citizen in Kenya. He's a political analyst. He has done us good. I think we've accorded him a lot of time. Let me get back to studio here. Kenya is done. We only pray that they get better. They get to talk, because whatever affects them in our way spills over to us. Now, President Museveni, well, this particular topic this morning, President Museveni has actually done so many things, but I was shocked about this one. President Museveni urged the Inspector General of Government, Betty Kamyaturomwe, not to compel soldiers and other security personnel to declare their wealth publicly under the Leadership Code of 2021, no matter what the law says. Let me get to Madame Jolem Msha. The letter of the President to the IGG. Keep off the security services. Don't compel them to declare their wealth. It has nothing to do with corruption. They are clean. We just need to keep them sacred. And if they have to declare any wealth, let it be to the chief of personnel of the UPDF. Your take.
Sometimes we get up on the wrong side of things, because I mean, what do you say when the guard, the person guarding the fence, is the one telling the thieves that now you come in, whispering
yes.
telling them that, guys, these people are all asleep. Now you come and pass through here, you'll be safe from this side. Because what I want to mention, Mr. Banyaji and listeners, is that this is not the first time that President Museveni has interfered with the work of the IGG. You recall when the minister came up with an idea of the cost of living vis-a-vis the income, when everybody was supposed to declare, when they were supposed to look at people's income and compare with the work they have done with money, and then ask questions. Mr. Museveni came up himself at Kororo grounds and told Bet Kamya, he said, you leave my thieves alone. When you interfere with them, they are going now to start taking their money abroad. All Ugandans know that, and you have heard about that. I recall those days of when the former Minister of Ethics, Honorable Miriam Matembe, was still Minister of Ethics. She used to mention, well, it may have been off air, off public, but she would say that each time she mentioned about corruption, the Mr. Museveni would say, Mpora, go slow, don't mention those things. Now, what does this one bring us to? Mr. Museveni, to me, and to many other Ugandans, is not on the same platform with us. What we see as corruption, what we see as theft, what we see as affecting Ugandans, for him, he doesn't see it right.
But you see...
Recently,
yes.
Wait, before you come in, you saw him when he was addressing the members of parliament. People expected him to come up and condemn his team that stole iron sheets from Karamoja. You can't steal from a Karamajong. Those people are starving, those people are dying, those people are, they are the poorest of the poor in the world. And a minister in charge of Karamoja takes their iron sheets. Kasaija, the Minister of Finance, just wakes up one morning and finds the iron sheets on his compound. Now, the president, who is supposed to whip everyone to order, says, you leave my thieves alone. Leave my thieves, because if you talk about them, they'll take the money abroad. Now, it is not surprising, because if you go back through history, since 1986, for me, when this government came to power, I was already an old Ugandan, earning some bit of money. Remember when they came, you can give it any name. I don't know whether it was what in the economy, you will explain, but our money was stolen. All Ugandans' monies were stolen from them. If you had 1 million shillings, they'd change it and give you, take off all the zeros and give you kashanju, just 7,000.
But it's a monetary Ugandans, tool to fight inflation.
Can you give me time to explain? It was trying to fight inflation, but did inflation go? Did they give an explanation? So stealing from Ugandans has been the order of the day, and if there is any government that has stolen money from its citizens, it is Mr. Museveni's government. And it's nobody's surprise, because if I read his book, I don't know how many people have had an access to that book. I'm really not feeling well today.
Yes, it's okay.
But
I'm sorry.
Right from his childhood, he talks of times when he would steal his mother's milk. Each time he would be sent to bring milk, he would drink and put in water. So you can see, to him that is normal. Stealing is normal. So if he comes up and says that UPDF, the generals, are not supposed to follow the code of conduct, then why have the code of conduct? Because a code of conduct is supposed to guide all Ugandans, and UPDF is part of Ugandans. Now, how can he exempt them from following the code of conduct, and yet they are the ones who are supposed to police the implementation of the code of conduct? So, to me, this morning, I think, perhaps, sometimes there is when you run short of words. What do we say? If the person supposed to be controlling it, should be enforcing it, should be ensuring that Ugandans' monies and whatever is not taken, is the one saying, Don't mention that one. And I think he just puts there people like Kamia. Even the minister herself, she had a gray background. You know that. You have seen it in the press. And then he appoints her and reappoints those even who have been, I can use a lay person's language, who have been interdicted. He puts them, he reinstates them. So what are you expecting us as Ugandans to think? I think we have come to the end of the road, and I want to call upon Ugandans, the wise Ugandans, those who are still concerned with Uganda, to get up and probably take the Kenya way. Because if words have failed to convince the old man that Uganda's assets need to be protected for the use of all Ugandans, then what do? If words have failed, then we demonstrate, we run to the streets, and then, or maybe we take up arms, just like he did in 1980 when he was dissatisfied with the elections and then he went to the bush.
But the reasoning of His Excellency the President on this particular thing of, not compelling members of the security forces from declaring their wealth is perhaps of the nature of the work they do. These are people that are engaged in intelligence and counterintelligence activities. This is, sacred and very secretive information. Now, getting to know how they were able to acquire this wealth, how they are able to operate, don't you think it would expose our state machinery as far as intelligence gathering is concerned?
How intelligent or how secretive is one's wealth? If somebody has a building at High Street here and he's doing intelligence, does he want to tell us that when he intelligented, let me use it, that word, if when he did some work somewhere, he was paid money and he didn't pay it? Because they are paid a salary, a salary which is documented, and that's why it is important, like any other Ugandan working with government, to declare what they have so that they can compare against their income. We see buildings mushrooming. If you move around, especially Western region now, and see how people's homes look like today, you just cannot believe that all that money that is doing all these wonderful farms, wonderful buildings, storage buildings on the streets. You have been to Kampala and elsewhere, that all that money people get from salaries. That's why it is very important that we get to know. If one is an intelligence officer, fine. Intelligence officers have a salary, a salary that is attached to their job. So how does that one put Uganda at risk? Because somebody has maybe gone to Kenya and there was going to be war and then he was bribed. This is the more reason why they should declare, so that we can know where all this wealth is coming from and they selling our country. In fact, it is very, very important that they do that so that they can unearth some of these unbelievable things that happen behind closed doors.
Jolly, President Museveni has actually not said they cannot declare their wealth at all. He has simply said, can we leave this to the chief of personnel in the UPDF to be able to gather this information from the personnel without having... You see, the military is the military. It will not conduct business like the way civilians do. Can we have an arrangement where the people that belong to this fraternity have a unique way of doing things because of the unique work that they do? He has said, it's not that I am stopping investigation about these individuals and declaring their wealth, but can it be left to the chief of personnel in the UPDF? What is wrong with that?
Everything is wrong with it, Mr. Banyaja and listeners.
Yes.
Because you can't police a police. I mean, you are the one supposed to do the work. You are the one supposed to oversee that certain implementation of laws and regulations is done, right?
Yes.
And now you are given a green light to go ahead about your business. Now, do you think within themselves they don't see what is happening all these years? Of course, not all of them are beneficiaries of these corrupt tendencies. I know that. But have they ever come out to say, General so-and-so has this and this has gotten it from a wrong side? No, they have not said that. And in other words, why are laws put in place? If the UPDF, I mean, does the UPDF live on an island where other Ugandans don't reach? Of course not. So if they are part of our nation, they are one of us, they should also be expected to live like other Ugandans live. If they do wrong, if they commit an offense, they should also be subjected to the law that is prevailing in the country. So if somebody has acquired a building and he's a UPDF, why should another UPDF be the one to ask him where he has gotten it from? And yet we have a fully-fledged office. Why establish it anyway if it cannot work? Because how many other Ugandans are they going to look at? Because those are the key areas, the key populations that have, those tendencies of corruption. Okay. Are they going to look at Banyacharo here in Rweb Corner and say, you people come and declare your assets? No. Those are the people. Okay. So if Mr. Museveni is saying now you don't talk, so what is the work of the IGG?
Okay, let's stop up for a break. We'll be right back after the commercial break. Good morning.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics.
Welcome back. 3 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM with music. Great friends. The Big Seat. My name is Wesige Banyaji. We are online on www.cruisefm.com/stream. And on Crooze TV, you'll be able to view us because we're casting live. Cut us off Creative Digital Media, doing the magic right there. And the feedback is you can be able to drop your comments on our social media handles, 912 Crooze FM on Twitter, 91.2 Crooze FM on Facebook and Instagram. And we are Crooze TV for TikTok and YouTube. The questions on Facebook and Twitter are already on. Please join the conversation. And later on in the show, you can be able to call in on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Ivan Palvov, UG, you're saying on the question of not compelling members of the UPDF and the intelligence services from declaring their wealth. You're saying, I think we can quickly pick a message that even the president himself won't be considered in presentation of his wealth, and he's supposed to. And you're listening again from Yevanda. Thank you. Agaba Richie, you're saying, for a country where there is respect for rule of law, this act would be would aid curb corruption. Soldiers, being public servants, are entitled to declare their assets versus their liabilities. But this is just a waste of time. The constitution is needed. It's considered as a joke. Mahad Ramadan, you're listening again from Kabale University, and you're saying if they declare such stuff, hope there wouldn't be any change. If we do still have this system, we are only stressing ourselves. Greenwood Shaggy, you're listening again from Kazo, and you thank us for the show. But those who work in the IGG, did they declare their wealth before security officers? You listened again from Kasese. And Orishava Machel, who is saying, no wonder we always hear army officers in land grabbing. This is a wake-up call in need of change. You can't say that statement in public when you're president. Gaddafi is saying, why not? Are they above the law? If they are, then everyone in this country is above the law. Imagine soldiers who are not able to declare the wealth. And you're saying they swallow large sums of money. Otherwise, I credit their work. Indeed, UPDF is really doing great. But, okay, thank you. Keep the messages coming. Let me go to Sifa. Sifa, the letter of the president to the IGG. Let go of the UPDF and the intelligence services. There is a particular way I want this sector to be handled. We shall not have the IGG compel them to declare their wealth. After all, they operate classified expenditures, classified budgets, and the operations are very secretive. They don't have to declare their wealth.
Thank you, Banyaji. Some of these things, for me, I think are simple for us to understand. And like I've always said, we don't necessarily have to politicize it and everything. I don't want to put a lot of attention on the fact that he's saying that soldiers should not be compelled to declare. Actually, the word here is compelling. That's what I focus on. So that means whoever wants to declare can do so. But the fact is you should not be compelled to because of the reasons he gave. Banyaji, sometimes you have to agree that much as we all have professionals and whatever, some of them are different depending on what they do. We might see it lightly that when you declare, I have this house here, I have this farm there, it's just okay and you just go with it. But there are so many other things attached to it. And I think he's one of those people who don't come out to just utter words just like that. I think he sat and reasoned this out. And when you talk to some of these individuals, the soldiers individually, they will tell you exactly the same, that it's been actually long overdue. Because for me, my focus, like I said, is on what has been how effective has this declaration of assets been. To me, it hasn't even made a lot of sense right from 2002 when it was amended. Is it 2000? Yes, when it was amended. So for me, the issue is whether you declare your wealth. After all, some of them under declare, if we may say. So what has it helped us in terms of fighting corruption? Because the intention was to fight corruption. That's the bottom line. But has it been effective anyway? We are seeing a lot of money now being stolen more than even before, in billions and trillions of shillings. So it doesn't make sense. Let us give these people time to focus on what they are supposed to do, that is protecting this country, other than declare. So what if they declare? After all, in some countries, when they declare their assets, liabilities and incomes, it is scrutiny. It is put under scrutiny by the public. Is this what they do in Uganda? So for me, it is a wastage of time. And some people actually argue that the IGG's office has not helped us a lot. Yes, it hasn't, but somehow it has helped. So for me, Leave these people alone. Let them go and train and focus on what they are supposed to do. Because after all, even those who have not declared have not been punished. It doesn't make sense. Like he said, it is secretive. Some of these things we don't need to know. After all, it's like saying that if someone is going to investigate someone, then they should put on their attire and, put their names here. Then it doesn't make sense. The same applies to declaring their wills. Let people have peace and settle and focus and do whatever they want to do, Banyaji. Because let me tell you, even the judicial
but
system
does it buffer you how the president goes ahead to say no matter what the law says, in total disregard of what the law, but you see, the president swears to uphold the constitution and the rule of law,
but like he said,
and by establishment, how is that establishment the law?
The president was clear. He said the law must be in tandem with the logic, and that's exactly what it is. Why do you want to be slaves of the law? Why do you want to be slaves of the law, Banyaji? That's what I've been saying actually concerning the constitution, that we can amend it any time because it was made by a human being. It's not a holy book from from God like the Quran and other books. So for me, we can amend it accordingly. Let these people, because as we speak right now, these soldiers are not, my assumption is, or what it is, they are not supporters or fans or whatever of any politician in Uganda. We assume they are neutral and all it is. You have to laugh because that's what it is, Banyaji. So for me, you might, if you had said that NRM cadres and whatever should not declare, it would be a different war and I would be on a different side myself. But now that the army is composed of every other person, then what's wrong with it? Why are you fighting over that? And for me, this is pretense of the highest order. My question is, how have you penalized those who have declared? Or those who have given us the wrong side of it? So for me, the whole thing of declaring these things is just a waste of time. It doesn't make sense at all.
So in other words,
so we should use other yes.
You are saying that the IGG's office is redundant. Instead of spending money on it, they'd rather leave people to do their business, acquire their properties no matter how,
not
and
exactly,
then we
Madam
continue.
Because I was
because
very clear, if Madam Jory was listening to me, I said somehow it has helped and opened people's eyes, to block issues and whatever.
But your approach today,
it hasn't entirely helped us.
Don't you feel it's just double standards? It's a contradiction. Because on one arm you're approving of the workings of the IGG and you're seconding the same. At the other hand, you're saying the IGG should keep off the UPDF because after all, even the declarations and that law has not been affected in any way. I can assure you, Luchams was barred from joining parliament because of failure to declare his wealth. So it is possible that an individual can be implicated and an action is taken against them for failing to oblige to the law.
Yes. I said to some extent, the IGG's office has helped us fight corruption. But to me, the focus should be on, because we have seen severally, the IGG, Madam Betty Kamya, come out and say they don't have enough money as an office. Even they are understaffed. So why don't you focus on that? As citizens, why don't we advocate for more money, for a bigger budget for the IGG's office
for to be what able if to the army is going to keep
but why we have a lot of, Banyaji, we have a lot of institutions in this country. Why do we put our focus on the army? Are they the most corrupt after all? How many times have they been implicated and have they appeared on the list of the top of institutions that are corrupt?
Well, so the reports have implicated the UPDF severally on corruption.
Like when?
You can do the homework.
In what position? If you talked about police, I would
but
say yes,
but robbing the state does not matter which position you occupy.
It does. What I mean, Banyaji, is we have ministers as we speak. It's an allegation, but I think we are yet to get a report. Billions of money. Madam Joy just gave us an example of Karamoja. Why don't we focus on those ministers? Why are we running for the UPDF? Even this UPDF you are talking of, Banyaji, some of them do not even have houses at home. They don't have a single room out there. And you're saying you want to fight corruption. Abasirikale bibiri siringi zinga hii waza comparing na MPs na ministers na bahango bona. The
so
ministries, the technocrats in the ministry. So for me, we are running for that, just like people have always said, we are running for the smaller fish when the bigger fish are there. We should fight these people who are stealing money openly in the broad daylight instead of just trying to, have by declaring it. You have an army officer who has been, has left home for years and years, and you're saying you want them to declare their wealth. That is just a joke. We are just playing around. So for me, Mr. President is right on this particular issue. Let us focus on other people. Like I said, we have teachers. We have cows who are stealing money. You talk of this parish development model fund. Let us focus on that because it is targeting the ordinary Ugandans. How many billions of shillings has been lost under Paris development model before we run for the UPDF, before we run for the whatever. So for me, like he said, if they want to do it, there should be a mechanism through which they can do it without interfering with what they do. And like he said, it should be with the personnel, the chief of personnel, to have the details. But even then he said some of these things you shouldn't also have in terms of details. So for me, the IGG can focus on other people. We have a lot of cases backlog in her office before they clear it, before we run to the UPDF. It's just a waste of time.
To the lifeline of the show, 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Call in and have your say on record on 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. That's the studio line. You can be able to call in and we get to hear from you of what you think about the president's letter to the IGG, barring her from compelling members of the security services from declaring their wealth. At Crooze FM on Twitter, Inebiona Roland, you're saying yes, they should, because I heard that the teachers would declare their wealth, but most importantly, General Salim Saleh and the rest should declare their wealth to Ugandans. Teacher Nwagaba Joseph, you're saying I can't believe it. Soldiers and other security personnel to declare their wealth. And you're saying greetings to a couple of people there. I hope they see. DePaul on Twitter, you're saying you mean being a security personnel in Uganda exempts you from being a citizen? With a question mark. And Junior UG, not really, because they're also government officials. How special are they? Not to reveal their wealth. And you're saying if it's like that, then that's the promotion of corruption. Then Akampa Jacob, you're saying thanks for the show. No, that should not be the case because those security personnel are the leading factors in corruption. Thank you. At Crooze FM and at Banyaji, I'll be able to get your feedback. The big set.
Hello, Crooze FM.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm called Buchen Derek, working this side of Nyangaba district.
Yes, Derek.
Yes, I'm a security personnel myself, Zumi prison. For me, I concur with the president.
Yeah. You work with the prisons?
Let it be not an issue.
Okay, go right ahead.
So, for me, my view is, to some extent, the security officer should not be somehow audited. Yeah? For the reason, many securities, they pay out for security officers. It is low. I concur with the madam in the studio. There are people who are selling things in broad daylight. Talk of NADs. When I was still in the village those days, people used to steal money NADs. Right now there's this parish development model money. People are going to steal it in broad daylight like this. Why do you go for people who earn for less than 1 million and people are earning 40 million but they are still stealing the earn shit for poor people?
All right.
Not right.
Thank you, Derek. I've gotten your message. The big set.
Yes, brother.
Turn down the volume of your radio.
I'm away from it.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning to you, sir.
Who are we speaking to?
You're speaking to me, Muheros. I'm calling you from Katibani, Kamwenje.
Yes, the good gentleman from Katibani, Kamwenje. Go right ahead.
I will say this in our local language because...
you're not education. Okay, go right ahead.
Hati braga noreba. Ba security personnel z'ababo kureba. I think that nabo nibashimira ko aba nibahereza ibyo bugiga byabo. Because akwa no shanga umuntu na aninga sente zo kushanga atema konke byo bugiga byeye nibikira isente za kubana aninga. Bwana we sente nanazi yanka hahandi. So tibaba bakushanga okuza kushanga banyoni ibintu bya government baba tabamanyire. Bakakomeza mubabituyire nkaba bibira amabati mwene ko jangu tibarabe bakuforo winjire bakandi baza kucimanya ngo nibo bagibire so nkabire ningira nti uriyo mwe wena obano bane mpi obani ki wena ashime kwana heze ibyo bigabye abantu bakabimenya nabikabimanya. The big city, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Muheres from Katibani Kamwenje. The big city.
Banyaji Wesije.
That's my name. What's your name?
This is Junior Sagawa from Kito Rent. As usual, Busheng district has been represented on the big seat.
Thank you very much.
Now, I was listening very intently to Madame Sifa. You know, I like that, Madame. But since my education is not substantial, my education since is not substantial. Let me use my language.
Please go right ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
Abanyankore bakakifumu bagira ngu enyonyento negese nkuru okuguruka. Beno nahurira wagira ngu bakawo bashime kubana bazari bakawo ati omu government yanyojo nabangizi. Benu ekisoka tukireka abukuba omuryanyankore nabagira ngu angireho tuyiho butuzi. Konka amaskoti angwa sisiwe kirungi tokerekire ngunondo muri mu nkabanyagi atinjire mu government ginonda mukangu mempurikirize.
Thank you very much, my lovely friend. The big set.
Good morning, Banyagi.
Good morning. How are you?
Okay. This is Muhuza Girvas from Ivanda.
Yes, Muhuza in Ivanda.
I love that man in Kenya. He said that being patriotic means letting the current government in power, but doesn't mean that you are good at everything it is doing.
Yes.
I then want to correct that madam who spoke last by saying that they are not investigating the thieves only. We want only the government to be transparent, okay? So, and no one is above the law. Our issue is with the president saying that the officials are not under the law. That is our issue. No one is above the law in Uganda.
Okay, thank you so much. We've gotten the message on 752-912-912 and 780-910. Colin, the big set. Yes, hello, caller.
Yes, Banyaji.
Yes, how are you doing?
I'm very well. This is Dr. Andrew from Crooze, Uganda.
Yes, Dr. Andrew.
Nyono maya ninkira kwese rumi rutu rwa Western ninkuzambyo kuzambyo ruzunge ibintu by'abantu baheru.
Kosori nyankore.
Aha. So ese nanyenda kugamba. Nangwa nasima abagambi bona bwata yeso mu CBS aheji. Kuyaho nanyenda kongeraho. Noleba mwami twazo munanka no muri Kenya. President wa Kenya Ruto mwami William Ruto naenda kugambana nabo opposition. Kukato muntu nayebuza ahabwa cyayishirize kugamba nabo. Ikitakabasa kukorwa president witu wa. Nicyo kureba buri muntu na hari mu government yitu. Nakora kwahuza akwahurenda ye. So nina president Museveni cyane kukora. Nango kukira na abantu abo kukira kurengatana ibintu bya government ndamuntu wa hanze. Aine kwata kusensaninga buri muntu wena yakwata nekintu kutariguma namunyunyira. Abanyanko cyangwa umuntu ngwanyunyira mwana wawe mera wa munyunyira mesa ngwana muhohereza buri so byone yakora wamuhorereza.
Yebari muno.
So, aha.
Let me pick the last call and we go make some money. The big set. Oh my God. On 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. The big set.
Yes, Banyaji.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You are speaking to me na tujuna Bruno mwenetekuva ugamba Rwampara.
Yes, Bruno. Just lost Bruno. We're going to pick more of your calls when we come back after a very short commercial break. Stay locked up.
It's tough. It's bold. It's real politics. The Big Seat on 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music. FM. Great music.
Great music.
Great friends.
Great friends.
We are back 23 minutes past 10 o'clock on Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM. Great music, great friends. My name is Wesigye Banyaji. The big city is on, and I want to appreciate very special people that are listening in this morning. Our guy Michael is on, and for the best rates to advertise here on Crooze FM, call our guy Michael on 782-861727 for the best advertising rates here at Crooze FM. Call our guy Michael on 782-861727. But also, you can catch him if at all you want, those that load bundles and whatever, on 741-440545. Our guy Michael on 0741-440545. Now, he's in charge of the business here. You can be able to call him, and he'll give you the best advertising rates that you can to boost your business and get it wherever you want it to be. With me in studio is Madame Jolem Msha, Vice President, National Unity Platform, Western Uganda. Sifa Safi, regular panelist here on the big set, and Asim Banjisi, a card-bearing member of the National Resistance Movement, but a good affiliator, an ally of the Mhozi project. Let me get to you, Mr. Simwe. We are talking about corruption, and this now is a conversation that Ugandans should just get used to. Don't you feel embarrassed and ashamed when you feel? Don't you feel it has gone too far that even what is left, that institutions like the IGG that could go ahead and investigate and indict some of these individuals that are barring service delivery are now being curtailed and frustrated by His Excellency the President? Because we know that UPDF is part of the group that is forever convicted of being behind stealing monies here and there that is meant to do good for our country. And the president comes and says, those are my people, you will not investigate them, you will not even compel them, no matter what the law says. It doesn't matter. They will not declare the wealth. If they have to, let it be to the chief of personnel. But the IGG, you have nothing to do with that. Banjis.
Thank you so much, Banyaji, our dear listeners and the viewers online. If you've been following my social media handles, there is somewhere where I even tagged one of the president's letters and speeches about corruption, and I was like, thank you, His Excellency, but it's high time we walked the talk. Because everything has literally been said. The policies are in place. The institutions, the government, parastatals to fight corruption, they are there. Office of the Auditor General, the IGG's office, State House Anti-Corruption Unit. We have even reached of duplicating these agencies. And the law is very clear. So the question is, can we be bold enough as the government in power to walk the talk? But nevertheless, how did we get here? Banyaji, it's so sad. Even the IGG's office is underperforming overwhelmingly. Why am I saying this? We've seen it multiple times. Even in my opening remarks, I said, can they go after the big fish? Someone swindles, embezzles trillions of Ugandan shillings. They let them scot-free. They come after a district accounting officer.
But it doesn't make it right what the district accounting officer is doing, nevertheless.
Get my narrative.
It doesn't matter.
Me, I want a blanket action without exempting any person. Yeah. And when it comes to security, today's topical discussion, Banyaji, security is security. Whether we want it or not, that's the reason as to why even in our budget, we have something called classified expenditure. We should advocate for systems that are fully functional. If we are talking of the UPDF chief personnel to be in charge, can we put systems and mechanisms to ensure every security agents, every security personnel, UPDF police, prisons officers, account to them and declare? There are reasons as to why. Because the moment you say security personnel declare publicly, these are not ordinary Ugandans. No one is above the law. We shouldn't be oblivious to that. But the fact should be some of the enemies of progress, some of the foreign detractors, some of the terrorists might single them out and use it against our country, the security establishment. Because we need peace. You and I know security results into development. It's a parameter for prosperity.
But Banjisi, perhaps you would need to help me, Jolly, and a couple of listeners understand how compelling a security agent, puts them at risk if they declare their wealth. Logically, we are not understanding. We are not on the same page with you and His Excellency the President. If you told, let me give an example. If John Turinawe works for ISO and he is compelled to declare his wealth of he drives an expensive SUV and he has a building on High Street and he has a farm of 1,000 heads of cattle, what is the problem? Because he's a public servant who earns from the consolidated fund. Why not compel him to declare?
That's
what
why
is the problem?
I said they should put systems and mechanisms in place for them to declare, but it should not be brought to the attention of the public.
What is the problem with that? We are yet to understand.
You get it? And that's the same thing.
In any case, Mr. Banyaji.
Yes.
Mr. Museveni does each and everything, makes all the decisions in this country. Did he have to write a letter to the IGG? I mean, he's the one who appointed her, right? Didn't he give her terms of reference? Does it have to come to the public to tell people, to inform the world that please don't touch my men?
No, when it comes to executive orders, they have to be formalized. Because it's an executive order.
So now,
and it's
what is the role of the IGG?
The roles of the IGG, they
if he cannot catch small fish, he cannot catch even the huge.
Perhaps let me help you, Mrs.
Misha.
No, but you see, let the listener understand what is the danger in compelling an individual who works for the UPDF declaring, and let me tell you, and the lie that is being propagated here is to make it seem, Honorable Jode, is to make it seem that if Amama Mbabazi is compelled to declare his wealth, that his wealth is perhaps listed for the public to consume. This is confidential information that is utilized by an institution of government called the IGG. It is not that it's put in the Uganda Gazette for it to be public information. That is not the case.
Let me clarify this.
Yes.
When you interest yourself in the dealings and operations of security, I'll give an example of US. US literally has spies all over the whole world. They even deploy double agent spies. They never declare who they are, and they are earning from the US's consolidated fund. When it comes to the IGG, some of the staff there being employed are not competent to handle some of these things. You get it?
Perhaps
not all CMI, ISO, intelligence people, security are known or declared to be who they are in the interest of the security of this country. You and I know, we are here on radio, Banyaji, you might find you're a state security operative.
So what's wrong with him declaring his property?
You get my point. So, whether we want it or not, that's why I used a very simple example of the classified expenditure under our national budget. So same thing applies here. The genesis of our problems as a country when it comes to fighting corruption, embezzlement, swindling of government funds, it's because we have ineffective government parastatals. We have ineffective, inefficient technocrats who don't walk the talk. We have very good policies. We have some of the best laws.
But I think that is generic. It's just a blanket statement that you're saying. Because the truth is, there are institutions that are charged and mandated under the Constitution to do some of this work. But if at all they are going ahead to do the work, but distracted by His Excellency the President, isn't it double standards and confusion?
It's not double standard. And allow me to add on Sifa Safi's voice. Sifa Safi said, we have here a lot of issues in regards to corruption. Why don't they first tackle them before they get excited with our security agencies? Yes. We are losing over 10 trillion Ugandan shillings every financial year in corruption embezzlement related scandals. They have not even been able to recover or convict some of the culprits for just even like 1 trillion Ugandan shillings. This is borrowed money. And you come after security. First address where we are losing more money before you think of these small things. That's why I'm saying if she was serious in what she's doing with the corruption scandals we've had from the time she was appointed, even Bet Kamya herself, that to me does not qualify because she has also been implicated in several corruption related scandals. So not once, not twice. You get my point? So all I'm saying is before we antagonize our security agencies that are guaranteeing us peace, security, we sleep in harmony, in peace, we survive, we earn, we go to school. Some of the people who have happening, they come to Bani, dance till morning. Why don't you first go after these other people? Like the people, you know how much money we lost in COVID? People died. Medicines were never procured on time. The ones that were supposed to be fed were never.
With global fund money for HIV.
Talk about the global fund money. Someone is stealing money meant for HIV victims, tuberculosis patients, and you now tell me you're coming after security. Let's have a clear priority of who needs to be dealt with first.
Okay. On 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Those are the numbers to call. We need to get to hear from you and what you think about the President's letter to the IGG not to compel members of the security services and the UPDF from declaring their wealth. On 752-912-912 and 780-912-910. Let's hear your word.
Point.
Yeah, yes.
The president has made several directives on markets, on Ebola, on COVID, on the management of Kampala as a city, and some of these things in majority of the times have been very effective, regardless of what the law says. Why are people so interested and so excited about this particular one, declaration of wealth by the soldiers?
Can I chip in, Mr. Banyaji?
Please go right ahead, Madam Jolie.
From the presentation of these two, this lady and this gentleman.
Yes.
These people, from their presentation, yes. Mr. Banyaji and the viewers this time, I think we need more research. We need to find out who the problem is. Because, yes, what is the problem of Uganda? I think the major problem of Uganda, according to me now, with my quick assessment, is Mr. Museveni himself. Now, look, the Parliament gets up and you remember the case of the Global Fund money? Honorable Jim Mwezi was found out to have been the cause of the loss of billions of shillings of Global Fund. They chased him out of what is the right word? They get him out, but he reinstates him and keeps him. They censor him, and then he reinstates him and makes him a minister. Now, Kamya, Honorable Bet Kamya, is at fault. He's under questions, a lot of questions. He appoints her as IGG, right? You have seen things of Uganda Airlines and so many things of stealing here and there, but he keeps quiet. You know, he has to have his way. Now, for me, I think Ugandans' eyes should be open from now onwards. The problem we have is not the army, is not the police. You have seen Enanga acting stupid, trying to tell lies here and there.
Yes.
So the problem we have in Uganda is Mr. Museveni himself. And as long as Mr. Museveni is still at the driver's seat of this country, we can never move forward.
All right. On
Corruption,
YouTube,
he's the father, he's the godparent, he's the mother, he's nurturing it. It's no longer even corruption. They give it names, embezzlement and whatever, because you hear these people what they are saying. If they are saying that Kamia should go for bigger fish, what about the smaller ones?
I said, let me clarify.
The office should be given an opportunity to start from somewhere. No, whatever she tries, then her hands are tied up.
But
what do you want?
Yes. But you see, Madam Jolie, before you strain yourself too much.
With this other girl from Fort Portal, every time somebody comes, a problem comes up, Mr. Museveni rises and says, you leave my people. Now, who is not her people? His people. Maybe you, Sifa. Even you, Sifa, if you stole from here, from this radio,
you would become Museveni's person.
You'd soon become
okay. But at least, Madam Jolie, we know for sure that the NRM and government generally has not denied the problem they have with corruption.
Yes, at least denying and acting are two different things.
Okay. And now on the lifeline of the show, the feedback, on YouTube, Crooze TV, we have a couple of good people that are on watching. Mugabe Mahad Kamukama, I see you, and you're watching from Kabare. Thank you so much. Nance Arinitwe, you're watching. Thank you. Oyesije Horace, you're listening in. You're saying good morning, Mr. Banyaji. This is Horace, and you're listening in from Kampala. But though we have echoes, I think we've been able to rectify some of that. Victor Jr., we've rectified the echo issue. I see you, Moses. You're saying okay. You're listening in from Chambogo. Biarahanga Gilbert, you're listening in. Arnold Aruho, you're listening in from Chabujimbi Town Council in Bushenyi. DJ Jobs 256, and you're watching. Mwebe Mbezi Alozius, you're listening in from Chizungu here in Bara. Biarhanga Gilbert, you're watching. Twine Winnie, thank you. You're watching from Dubai. MC Mananzi, Jonas Tumwesije. I'm going to come and be able to read some of your messages on YouTube. Go on Crooze TV. It's live. You can be able to give us that feedback. We're stopping for a break. When we come back, we'll be gearing up for another topic of discussion. Good morning.
Great music. Great music. Great friends. Great friends.
On the last lap of the show, 15 minutes to the top of the hour, here in Western Uganda's biggest radio station, 91.2 Crooze FM, great music, good friends. The sound of your radio is Wesigye Banyaji. I'm very always excited to be here every particular Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 11. I host a couple of people where we get to talk about issues to do with our country. This morning, we talked about issues of Kenya, and we had Ben Omilo from Nairobi give us a brief of what's happening there. And now we moved into the letter of His Excellency the President to the IGG on not compelling members of the security agencies from declaring their wealth. And a couple of good people that are listening in, I want to take mention of them. Johanna Remy Nwagaba, you're listening in. Nwajira, you're listening in. I want to appreciate you so much. I have Ivan Tarema, ardent listener of the big seat. Congratulations on your graduation. You're now a teacher. Go and educate the world. I have Levis, the agent, who is listening in from Kakoba. Thank you, sir. It's always an honor. And I have hashtag films. You're listening in right there at Portville building. And a couple of good people all over the world that are listening in online and on air. Day-to-day supermarket and the different petrol stations that don't change their radio. Crooze is always on, the clubs, this place, the cafeterias, every other place in Barra, and wherever it is. We thank you so much. And for those that make this radio show possible, our online audience and the feedback, those that call in and you write us the messages to do with that topic of discussion, we thank you very much. On YouTube, those that are viewing at Crooze TV, Advarima Rogers, you're watching from China, and they're saying President Museveni is not leading the fight against corruption. We are all equal under the law, and that's including army officers. So the corruption should be fought in that way. And they're saying unless Mr. Museveni leads the way in the fight against whipping its own ministers, the army and his family, corruption will not stop. Thank you for watching. And I have Trave Alex, who is also watching from Wizibera. Thank you. Aine, you're thanking Madame Sifa. And I have M. Dickens. You're watching us from Mbarara, and I will thank you. Aveni Twerojas, you're watching us from Kampala. Odong Emmanuel, you're watching from Soroti. And Blessed Melanin, you're watching from Barra. Ahirwe Habat, you're watching us too. Thank you so much. We just concluded that topic. For a few minutes that we left with, I want to pick the mind of the guests on the anti-homosexuality bill. It's passed, only waiting for the signature of His Excellency the President. Let me start with Madame Jolie. We had this topic. It was very emotive here. We had Council Wenje, we had a couple of people here, and Sifa Safi. Now, the fact that I have a new team, perhaps I would catch your mind on the bill. It's here. We're only waiting for His Excellency the President. The last we checked, the President said we are waiting for the medics to declare either if it's for nurture or nature, will give us a heads up. The international community is up with a lot of negative energy towards our country on passing this obnoxious law. The homosexuals and the gay community is saying they will keep the gay pride on and they will increase their numbers no matter what you say. And this is on and on and on. But we have one country called Uganda. Jode Mugisha, the anti-homosexuality bill. In a second.
Listeners, the problem with Ugandans is that they ride on things that really don't affect Ugandans so much.
And that has been the stance of NUP.
Yes.
You've been
please
calling this...
I don't bring politics here.
Yes.
I'm speaking here not on behalf of NUP.
But in your own capacity.
As Jode Mugisha,
yes,
a senior citizen of Uganda.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Who has lived all these years. I have not come across any homosexuality. I have not seen anybody recruiting children. In fact, I always ask people who are recruiting so that I can talk to them and see if they can recruit me in the vice. Yes, because I've not seen them.
Yes.
There are many other very pressing issues, challenges.
So you think this is a diversion?
This one is just politics. Homosexuality didn't begin yesterday. If you read back to the time of the Bible, they say God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of homosexuality. But if God destroyed all those people who were homosexuals at the time, where did others come from? That is one. Then number two, if you read about Hitler, you have heard so much about Hitler of Germany, the bad man. The bad man was the one who started war against homosexuality after God had destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. But homosexuality is here. In other words, what am I saying? I'm saying, sex orientation has always been here with us, and it's not going away with or without a law. So if Parliament decided, with all the challenges that Ugandans have, but by the way, have you people read this law, what it says?
Yes, we've read that.
That if somebody does aggravated homosexuality, instead of talking about aggravated defilement, and they give somebody death, because how many girls have been defiled? As young as 1 year, we have seen even men defiling babies, their own children. If you look at it, it says a person convicted of aggravated homosexuality, death. Then person who commits offense of homosexuality,
20 years.
20 years. I don't know how they are even
a person convicted of promotion of homosexuality, 20
like
years.
Me now. Like me now, who, I mean, this radio, this TV this morning,
yes,
you should be imprisoned 20 years. Because what are you doing? You are promoting, you are talking about it. Do you know what has happened ever since this bill came into place? Every station, even when you are traveling public, recently I traveled by bus, every talk now and here, it is about homosexuality. And do you know what that creates? Curiosity among children. Now everyone is looking at what is it about. They want to find out. If you read this law, it is so stupid and redundant.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm not talking on behalf of NUP.
Yes.
I'm talking as an elder. I'm talking as an independent mind. Everyone should have freedom to enjoy their private parts. Who is going to put a rock on somebody's private parts and see how they use them behind closed doors? I thank you, Ugandans.
Thank you so much. Perhaps the penalties in the law, media houses that publish materials that promote homosexuality will be fined 1 billion shillings, and their license will be revoked.
What an idle mind.
For 10 years. Then child found guilty of homosexuality, those are 3 years.
Yes, I know.
And a person who has been convicted of attempted homosexuality is 10 years. The owner of premises that promote homosexuality, 10 years. Then person recruiting children into homosexuality, 20 years. Person who has committed the attempted aggravated homosexuality. If you rent your house as a landlord,
Mr. Baine has houses.
Yes.
If somebody comes and rents your house and you are a landlord, and that person practices homosexuality, you are an accomplice and you'll go to prison.
Yes.
I mean, what kind of rubbish is that?
Okay. Banjisi. The law is passed. It's a bill waiting for the signature of the president to become an act. How do we proceed?
Thank you so much, Banyaji, once again, and our dear viewers and listeners. And in a special way, Banyaji, allow me to thank the creative media guys who make it possible for us to be followed online TV. Bottom line, we have to look at two key things. Biology. The anatomy of a woman was designed to receive, whereas the anatomy of a man is configured to give. You can't change that fact. It's a fact. Two,
we are not debating the merits of the bill. Our time is fast spent. Okay. I want to hear your mind. The law was passed.
The law was passed.
And you know the backlash that we have from the international community. Shall we handle it?
No, we shall handle it.
Yes.
The only thing that needs to be amended are some of the penalties that might not be realistic. But the anti-homosexuality bill, we need it. Because when you talk about like if I'm a landlord, someone has hired my premises, I'm not aware that they are practicing homosexuality. You get it?
Yes.
2, and Banyaj, some of these penalties are punitive in a manner that they should deter people from engaging in homosexuality or recruiting people or promoting it. Because Banyaj, if you do it privately, in your bedroom, not publicly, no one will ever know. But why should you try to recruit, promote, put money in our institutions?
Okay.
So it's basically punitive to work as a deterrence, not to promote it. Because there isn't anything good about it.
Thank you. Sifa, the backlash from the international community. You know very well, these people fund a big chunk of our budget through grants and donations. You know this, the software we use in our information communications and technology is something that we import from the West. You know, these people get treatment from New York and London in medical tourism. We literally depend on the West. They are going to have us sanctioned and our economy frustrated. You know how much we need from tourism. They are all discouraged from coming to the Republic. Shall we deal with it?
Thank you, Banyaji.
In a second, our time is fast spent.
Yes, thank you so much. But before that, before tackling the issue of homosexuality in a sentence, allow me to talk to this old man who is trying to behave like a child. That is Mr. Odinga in Kenya. Unasema wewe ni baba wa taifa na unaleta machafuko, unaleta ghasia, unaleta uvivu, unaleta vifo, unaleta umwagaji wa damu ndani ya nchi. Sasa uacha kusumbua watu, acha wapate pesa, acha walipe pesa za watoto wao mashule na wengine. Acha kupretend that we napenda Kenya. So people should wake up and know that a person who loves the country fights for that country regardless of the challenges in the country. We all have challenges, but like I've always said, some of these fools, I'm using that word, are allowing themselves to be used by these people who are seeking for their selfish intentions. So please, people, wake up. Kenya has challenges like any other country, but the solution is, talking, sitting and looking for solutions. Right. But the issue of homosexuality, I congratulated the parliament. Thank you so much. And the Speaker of Parliament is saying she's receiving threats here and there. That is going to happen. Actually, the other day we were having a talk about homosexuality here, Banyaji. Someone told me that you people are bold enough to talk about homosexuality. We had Mr.
Wenje, yes,
yeah. We had these other two guys who are against it. And some people are saying you people are very bold. You talk about homosexuality and you know these people are powerful enough. I don't care. They don't put food on my table. Let them come for me if they want. But that is very, very, very dangerous. That is very sad.
Yes.
So for me, Banyaji, we don't care. If they want to stop their funding, let them stop it. As long as we fight corruption here, we'll be having enough money to take our country forward.
All right, thank you, Sifa.
But finally,
yes, in a second,
we wouldn't have an issue. We wouldn't be talking about it if those people like Banji said were doing their things in their rooms. But trying to recruit more people, trying to keep this generation, we are not going to accept it. Unfortunately, that is the bottom line. It is very sad. It's very sad and unfortunate that a mother and a public figure like Madame Jolie says she's looking forward to being recruited into homosexuality.
Thank you so much, Sifa Safi.
Do women do it?
Thank you.
They do homosexuality.
Madame Jolie, thank you, Banjus. My punchline this week: the graduates, you are given that degree, that diploma, that document. Please burn that document and go and put your work. You put the spanner in the works. Go and work. Do whatever comes across your path and make your life possible. My name is Wesige Banyaji. Let's meet next Saturday on the Big Seat. The Country Show is on tomorrow from 8 p.m. to midnight. God bless you. Have a fantastic weekend. We have news at the top of the hour. Keep it locked.